Your man Tony Busby is back on that bull. Let's discuss. Welcome to Rolling Ratchet.
Spread love, it's the Brooklyn way.
I'm your host that smokes the most. They call me Nizzy Nice. And in this video, not only will we talk about, we should also expose the name of said Jane Doe, who's accusing Shannon Sharpe of sexual assault and suing him for $50 million. Yeah, we got a name and a face for Jane Doe, allegedly. But before we get to that, let me ask y'all a question. What does quarterback Deshaun Watson, who plays for the Cleveland Browns, who got the biggest guaranteed contract in NFL history, Jay-Z, Diddy, and now Shannon Sharpe, what do all these men have in common? Besides them all being successful black men, you know what else they all have in common? They've all either had or currently have a case where Tony Busby is representing their accuser. Now, it makes me think, does he ever go after any white celebrities, athletes, entertainers, or is it just the black ones? Now, we all know he's like one of the biggest ambulance chasers out here. But before I go any further, let me say this. My heart and prayers goes out to any woman that's ever been a victim of sexual assault. However, ladies, God forbid you're ever a victim of sexual assault. But if you ever were, who would you call first? The police or a lawyer? I mean, you think you would call the police first. You want to file a report. You want to press charges. You want to get this guy off the street and in jail. But in this case, this lady didn't call the police. She called the attorney first. So there are no criminal charges, only civil, which makes me think this whole case is about the bag. It's not about justice. It's about the bag. Now let's get into some of the details in the paperwork. The lawsuit obtained by TMZ Sports was filed by Jane Doe on Sunday in Nevada, after she says Sharpe brutally sexually assaulted her several times at the end of 2024 and the beginning of 2025, following a years-long abusive relationship. Now let's stop right here for a second and break this down. The woman says she was brutally assaulted. Brutally. Several times in 1 year. Not once, not twice, but she was brutally assaulted several times in 1 year, yet she never went to the police, and she continued to deal with Shannon Sharpe. Why? I know some people out there going to say, well, you know, it's the Stockholm Syndrome. Yeah, I believe Stockholm Syndrome is real, but is it applicable in every situation? Like there's no accountability on a woman at all? According to the suit, Doe met Sharpe in 2023 at a gym in Los Angeles when she was 20 years old and he was in his mid-50s. She stated in the docs during their first encounter, Sharpe told her he would buy her fake titties if she won a weight loss competition with him. She wrote in the suit, Sharpe proceeded to pursue her relentlessly, calling, texting, and demanding she come to his Beverly Glen mansion. Now, let me be honest. I don't believe any of that went down the way she said that happened. As frugal as we've known Shannon Sharpe to be, are we to believe he met a woman for the first time and offered to pay for her titties? And she said that happened in their first conversation? Like, who meets a woman for the first time and talks about paying for some titties? I don't believe that. But let me point out something bigger that I think we need to talk about. The fact that she was 20 and he was in his 50s. And the reason I want to bring this up is I've seen a lot of people dragging Shannon online because of the age difference. Now, I know in society, there's a lot of double standards, but I want to say I think black men deal with the most double standards out of anybody. And the reason I'm saying this is because every time a black man dates younger women, he faces so much criticism and backlash. Yet when white men date younger women, nobody says nothing. And I want to bring up some examples. Let's start with Mr. Scarface, Al Pacino. He was 83 years old when he had a baby with a girl that was 29. Yet nobody said nothing. No criticism, no backlash. It was crickets. Then we have Bill Belichick, former head coach of the Patriots. He was 72 when he started dating a 24-year-old girl. No criticism, no backlash. Matter of fact, I heard more people congratulating him. I was one of them. We all saying, player, keep going. Then we got the craziest one out of them all, and to me, this one was sick. Woody Allen married the daughter of his ex-wife. Yet, once again, no criticism, no backlash, just crickets. I just wanted to point out the hypocrisy and the double standard when it comes to black men dating younger women. Because when people found out the age gap between Shannon Sharpe and this girl, they was leaving comments like, oh, that's creepy. Oh, that's cringe. Go get a girl your own age. Yet they don't say this to white men. Just remember that. The woman stated she and former Denver Broncos tight end ultimately got into a consensual relationship, though she described it as controlling and verbally abusive. He demanded complete control over her time and body, attorney Tony Busby wrote in Doe's suit, expecting her to be at his house on his schedule at his command whenever he calls. Doe claimed there was one argument in particular that terrified her when he yelled at her while a firearm was visible in the room. Plaintiff tried sharing her location with their friends from her iPhone just in case, the doc states. But Sharpe saw what she was doing. The moment he realized what she was doing, grabbed her by her neck and told her, if you ever do that again, I will effing kill you. Now, her talking about Shannon grabbed her by the throat and threatened to kill her, I hope that's not true. But if it is, then Shannon was just dead wrong for putting hands on her. But let's keep in mind that this lawsuit was written up by a lawyer, and their job is to gaslight and trigger you. The lawyer talking about Shannon said he want complete control of her time and body. As busy as Shannon's schedule is, I don't see that. I could be wrong, but I don't see it. And as far as them having an argument and the firearm is visible, that's not a crime. If the firearm is legal, there's no crime. He didn't point it at her. He didn't threaten her with it. It was an argument. She couldn't have been that terrified, though, if she was still arguing. Because if I'm at a girl's house and we having an argument and I see she got a gun out somewhere on the dresser, oh, the argument is over. Argument done. You won. It's not even that serious. But one thing I could see happening is her trying to share her location and Shannon being upset about that. And that's because Shannon has been robbed before. His house in LA got robbed. That's why he moved to Nevada. So I can see him, seeing her trying to share the location and him being like, yo, what you trying to do? You trying to line me up? Like, don't you know I got robbed before? So I can see that happening. But this next part of the court documents, to me, this is the craziest part yet. The two nevertheless continued the relationship, even following a move by both to Nevada during the summer of 2024. However, Doe states in her suit she attempted to break things off after the infamous Instagram live streaming incident, which she said led to him graping her. Doe claimed in her suit the first instance happened in October 2024 at her apartment. She said the 56-year-old Pro Football Hall of Famer forced himself on her while she was crying and sobbing. The second instance, the suit alleges, happened a few weeks later in January 2025. Doe claims Sharpe came over to her house with promises of delivering a Christmas and birthday gift, but instead violently sexually assaulted her once more. Now, let me say this because it needs to be said, and this may be triggering to some women, but this applies to women and men. I was once told, what you don't change, you accept. Example, if you fat, but you won't change your diet and go to the gym, then you've just accepted being fat. And if you're poor with all of this opportunity around you, but you won't get off your ass and hustle, then you've just accepted being poor. And if you're in a toxic relationship, but you don't leave, you stay there, then you've just accepted that toxic relationship. So ladies, y'all gonna have to take some accountability. I know women and the word accountability normally don't go together in the same sentence, but y'all gonna have to start taking some accountability. Look at this situation right here. And God forbid this is true. I'm hoping she's making this up. But in this situation here, Shorty's saying Shannon sexually violated her in the summer of 2024. She didn't go to police. She didn't shut him down. Then you have January 2025. He called up, said, y'all want to come over? I got a Christmas and birthday gift for you. She like, words, you got two gifts? Come over. She says he violates her again. If she would have shut him down the first time, there would have been no second violation, allegedly. And after this Tony Busby and Jay-Z situation, I hope some of y'all have learned to give the benefit of the doubt. Because y'all was doing Jay-Z crazy. I couldn't believe y'all was taking this girl's word over Jay-Z. Some of us been rocking with Jay-Z for 25 plus years. This man ain't never had no smut on his name. One white girl pop out of the woodwork. We don't even know where she came from. And she accused Jay of violation. And y'all like, yup, Jay must have did it. I'm like, what? And then we find out Jay's innocent. Crickets. No apologies, none of that. And I was told that Tony Busby, I was told he's been sitting on this lawsuit for a while, but he was waiting for the right time to strike. And I'm hearing that Shannon Sharpe is up for a new podcast deal. Was supposed to be worth like $100 million. So what better time for Tony Busby to bring this up? And this is why I feel like something in the justice system has to change. I don't think it's fair that a man could work his whole life to build up his reputation and his brand, and one funky female can come out of anywhere and accuse you of anything, and you'll lose everything in weeks, if not months. But hey, as always, I want to thank you for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share. I'm your host that smokes the most. They call me Nizzy Nice, and we rolling ratchet.